We're live. Wait a couple minutes for people to get in here. What's up? Look at some wild videos while we're waiting for some people to get in here. Look at this thing. This was a project that I was doing for somebody because I would never do
So we
something
just
like this.
built all of these.
Look at this. These are basically the plan was that they were going to do like shipping containers over the top of this and build it out. So we had to do like all of these piers like this. I mean, they had to be perfect because you'd come in with a crane and drop these things on there. And yeah, we had to bring in the plumbing under here, and nobody's ever done a project like this out here, so it was a cluster from the start. I'll wait a couple more minutes for a few more people to get in here. Ended up leaving that job because this was like one of the final customer jobs I ever did, and it was not a good one. This house took like a year to sell. It had a surprise hole in the back. Still don't know what it was. This was one that was getting sold. Oh, here we go. What's going on, JP? Who found your channel and looked through a bunch? Oh, nice. Great, man. Or girl. O'Giver. Glad you're here. All right, well, let's get into this thing. For the people who aren't here yet, they can watch replays. All right, today I'm going to go through the 4 tactics that really guide me. All right, the one-man house flipping real estate investing business is really based upon this. I'm telling you, I mess up a lot of stuff, but these 4 things I will never mess up because they are what take away my risk. They are what keep me going. So when I talk about the solo house flipper or burr investor, I mean, seriously, this morning I dropped my girls off at school. I'll be home for dinner. I have multiple other companies, and I'm not saying this to brag on what I'm doing. What I'm saying is that I run my real estate investment business in like 4 to 5 hours a week through meetings. I have 16 projects going on right now, and I do that because of these 4 non-negotiables that I have learned the hard way over 17 years of investing in real estate. And that's what I want for you guys. So this is the signal through the noise. These are the 4 things that you absolutely have to do, and they are not what other people are going to teach you. Okay, people are going to people are going to get into the comments later on in the video, and they're going to say, well, that's not how it works. I'm telling you guys, it's how it frickin' works. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go. What's up, Andrew? Glad you're here, man. All right, so one of the early projects that I did almost ruined me. Okay, I've talked about this one before, but let me show you a little close-up here, guys. This was very nice, right? You would be proud of doing a project like this. It was 1 story. I took the roof off, I built a 2nd story, I did this stucco myself, I did that tile work, I put in all the nice stuff. Guys, this is a custom welded by me and my old man. Custom welded staircase with oak platforms. This is as nice as can be. Everybody would agree with that. This is something you could be proud of. And I lost $200,000 on this project. $200,000. Okay, let me show you, just for further proof here. If I can figure out how to work the old Zillow. I buy this house for $325,000. Cost me multi six figures to get it to market. But I'm thinking that I can sell the thing for $800,000. So you see where I put it on the market right there, $800,000. It ended up selling for $667,500. That was my haircut. I could basically break even right there because of how much the project overrun. And the project had overrun so much that I had to basically fire any subcontractor that I had, and I did all the work myself. The rest of the project took around a year. But in that time, I made friends with a neighbor who had just bought the house. His name was Glenn. He had just bought the house right across the road and to the corner. He bought that house for, let me show you. I have proof. This is right. I could see it from the front. This dude buys this house for $423,000. Okay. And this is what the house looked like when he bought it. Okay. He did not do anything to the exterior. He didn't even paint. He might have pressure washed. This dude had sandals on every day, and he went in here and he did some basic things. Okay. He did a little bit of nice tile work on the entryway. This kitchen is a basic kitchen. You know, you got like regular shaker cabinets. You can basically buy this crap off the shelf at Home Depot. You got some basic hard tops, stainless steel, sure, a given in a neighborhood that is that expensive. He's got, like, when you look into the bedrooms, I don't even think he replaced the carpet. I think he like vacuumed the carpet. Okay, this dude literally was growing weed in the backyard. We're in Denver, Colorado. Okay, and I watch him go in and buy this house, and less than 6 months later, he had sold the house for $600,000. Maybe it was a little longer than 6 months, whatever. Okay, I'm across the street, losing my ass. This dude comes in sandals, smoking weed, and you know, it probably cost him $40,000 to do that renovation. He did a lot of the work on himself. He made over six figures as I was losing six figures. Why? Here's the thing, guys. I call this the HGTV dilemma because that's who taught a lot of us to flip. And you go into this neighborhood, and I know a lot of you guys have seen this before, but please let it sink in. Okay, this is what I call the scale of livability. Okay, you have houses over here. These are your range of comps. These are what houses sell for. This is what your real estate agent is going to come in and say, this house is worth X amount after you do these repairs to it. That's your range of comps. Okay, and basically as a flipper, you are taking stuff from over on the left side of this scale and you're bringing it to the range of comps. There are more strategies than that, but basically that's what everybody sees as a house flip. You make them nice like the rest of your neighborhood. The issue that I had is after watching too much HGTV, I see these people go in and they do these like custom bathrooms. They do like bathroom contests. Let's see who can do the most custom nice designs. And basically what you're doing when you're trying to do that, when you're trying to make your house the nicest house on the neighborhood, is you're actually trying to take it beyond what the range of comps are. And that's exactly what I did on Pontiac Street here, is I tried to take it past. I said that, you know what, nothing in the neighborhood has sold for $800,000, but if I make my house really nice, I could probably sell it for $800,000. And well, that's just not how it works, guys. This is like if you're real hungover, you go into a truck stop diner because you want to get like greasy ass food to soak up the hangover. You guys know. Okay, you go in there and waitress comes up, gives you this menu, and it's got like these dainty meals on it. That's not what you came for. You know, these gourmet meals that are like $50 a plate. You're like, nah, man, I came in here for some cheap like eggs and sausage and pancakes. And so there's only two options, right? You came in for the $20 meal. That's the neighborhood you came into. And they're giving you these $50 meals. You can either leave and go somewhere else, or the chef can come out and lower the price for you, okay? So on my Pontiac situation, that's what I tried to do, is sell some gourmet meals in a truck stop diner, and I had to lower the price to meet it. And that's what happens, and this happens to a lot of people. And we're gonna get to the statistical evidence here in a little bit. My first project, I'm just reading this comment right here, was one with a sunken foundation. The house had fallen off. So, dude, yeah, things happen for sure. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to pull these up here, but we'll do it later. All right, so this is the HGTV dilemma. I'm trying to renovate the house past what the neighborhood statistics tell me will work. And it's never going to work for you guys. So this is what we do instead. Okay, I'm going to look at these range of comps, and I'm going to actually look through them. Okay, when you're comping a neighborhood, you're looking at what similar houses have sold for, right? So I'm actually going into this neighborhood. Let me show you here. Okay, so I'm looking at all the houses that have sold in the neighborhood that are of similar size, and I'm looking just within that neighborhood. I'm not looking outside of that neighborhood. And I'm actually gonna, let's see if this works. Yeah, it does. Just making sure it's showing up. Yes. Okay, so I'm actually gonna look at what do these houses look like. Okay, I'm getting a feel for, okay, we have hard tops here. We have these cabinets here. These are just painted cabinets. That was the originals. They painted them. Awesome. We got LVP floors. I'm not even sure these are hard tops. Probably so. But you see they got the sink. They did a little bit with the fixtures and such. Okay, great. Got the idea. Let's see what is something else sold. I'm not going to go through all these. Obviously, these are like all the comps over the past 6 to 12 months. Okay, so this one's a little bit nicer. It's got a brick. Okay, and it has no interior pictures. But what I'm doing is basically I'm going through each one of these houses, or at least a large number of these houses. And what I'm trying to figure out is what is the baseline. I don't even know I'm writing it. You guys all know I have terrible handwriting. But the baseline is right here. It's not what got people over the line. It's what got them into the ball game, what got them into the range of comps. So really you're looking at the finish items. You're looking at things like, what were the cabinets? Were they painted? Were they new? And if they were new, were they like pressed wood, or were they solid wood shaker cabinets, like higher end stuff? Are the floors LVP? Are they hardwoods? Or are they something else? You know, you could have sheet vinyl in certain like C-class neighborhoods. You're looking at the trim. Is it the basic like builder stuff off of the shelf at Home Depot? Or is it something a little bit more high end? It's probably not. It's almost never high end. Even look in the new builds in your neighborhoods or, you know, around your house. And then you're looking at these finish items and you're saying, of each one of these, what is the lowest level, not the highest level? So if I have some houses that have LVP and I have some houses that have the hardwoods, I'm picking LVP. Okay. And then I have, you know, painted cabinets are working in some of those houses. I'm going painted cabinets, baby. I'm going with the baseline. Okay. Now there are ways that we push it a little bit further through here. That's the big three. We're not going to talk about that today. There are some strategies, basically creating the filter through which people see. You've probably seen this in my other videos. The point that I'm trying to make with you guys today is that the neighborhood speaks. It is already decided what a house is worth. There is nothing you can do to make that house worth more money. It happens over time, but it doesn't happen on a house flip. It happens over years of time, okay? So don't try to do it. It is only going to get you in trouble. You're going to spend money. Basically, the money that you spend, here, let's take the range of comps. The money that you spend to get to here is good. It's 2 to 1, let's just say, throwing numbers at it, maybe even 3 to 1. Return on your investment. The money that it takes to go from here to here is nothing. It's 1 to 1. That's 1 to 1. There's no advantage. And guys, we're in a business here. So it's cool. Then I can show you guys these nice pictures of houses. But the truth is, that didn't make me any money. And we're in the business to run a business. So HGTV dilemma: do not over renovate houses. Make a plan on how you're going to hit the baseline and how you're going to preserve your money on the way to getting this house to a sellable condition. Okay, number 2. This is where a lot of people are not going to like what I have to say. I always hear it in the comments, and especially when the construction guys get involved, and they all say that this is not the way it works. That's not the way that I run my business. And I believe that you're not trying to run your business this way. But the truth is that I have owned or still own 4 construction companies. I own a property management company that manages over 1,200 doors, and we have a full stack maintenance department. And I have paid hundreds, if not thousands, of 1099 subcontractors. So I know how construction works, guys. Not only that, obviously I've flipped a whole bunch of houses. Okay, so this is how it works. And I wish it was not how it works. And even being the operator of a construction company, I know that it works for me this way sometimes. Just to be clear, I'm not out there doing GC work for anybody anymore, but I remember, and this is where my strategies have been based. So it basically works like this: is somebody gets a job. Here we go. They get their job or their project. Inside of a project at 123 Main Street, there are multiple jobs: LVP floor, drywall, paint, etc., etc. And what happens is they split this stuff up. Okay, so they got their paint, then they're going to do their LVP, then they're going to do the trim, etc., etc. So they have that going on. And they get in here and they start working. And that's not enough money to pay for a construction guy with a crew. Okay, so they have to start thinking about their next job. Plus, this has got an end coming, so they have to think about that. So what they do is they go get another job, or another project, and it's got jobs. Okay, and that's still not enough, guys, because their crew members are probably going to have different skills as well. So they got to put the guys that got these skills over here, and then these guys over here, and so they got to pick up another one. Okay, and this goes on and on and on. But the worst part is, what happens is that they need to go to where the fire is burning the brightest, because there's always problems that come up in construction. It is true. So they need to go where the fire is burning the brightest. And so let's say that over here, I got a fire right here. I got a fire over here. And over here, I've already gotten through the fire. Okay. So I need to put my bandwidth where fires are started. And here's what this fire is, guys. It's the ability to pay my bills. And this is their payment. All right. So here, this guy has already paid for this work. But I need some money. So I need to go over here and get this job started so I can get some money. And once I get over that hump, well, now I got another fire because I have more bills to pay. I have payroll. I got to put food on my plate. So I go where the next fire is going. And this is just the way it works. I wish it wasn't this way. However, it is this way. And there is a multitude of reasons why other fires start. There's things like, every crew has lower level guys that don't have the same amount of skills. And usually the beginning of projects take a lot less skills than the end, actually closing things up. So a big part of running a construction company is always trying to figure out how the lower skilled guys keep working, because you make money off of them. And so what happens to a lot of people is they get a guy started, they pay him, everything's going well, and then bleep, they vanish. And that's because they need to go put out their fire, and their fire is an empty pocket. So they go get that money. They plan to come back to your project. They really do. They just never get around to it because another fire comes up, and it happens over and over and over. And that's why, guys, you never, ever, ever pay a contractor up front. And a lot of people might say that, well, that it doesn't work like that. I would never work for you because, that's not how I operate. Okay, cool. I guess it's not going to work out for us then. And there are only 4 reasons that I can see that explain this. Only 4 reasons why it's different for these folks. One is that they're cost plus and not bid. Hopefully you've seen my video on never hire somebody at cost plus. And, that does put out the fires because no matter what fires happen, they're still getting paid in cost plus. Cost plus basically means if the contractor spends $1,000, you pay them $1,000 plus the markup that you pre-agreed upon. So they can make all the mistakes in the world and they're still getting paid. Sure, you can do things a lot differently that way. Not good for you as the investor though. The other thing is maybe they do bids, but they just price them extremely high. Like think custom work for like higher end homes. Like, yeah, maybe less of these problems happen is because they're like triple charging for the job. Therefore, of course, you can make some of these mistakes and still roll forward. Okay, but we don't want to pay triple for a project. And the other way would be if they work alone. And if they work alone, probably one of 2 things is happening. They're not making enough money or they're overcharging. And then number 4 is they think that that's the way their business works, and it's actually not. Okay, so how do you avoid paying up front? Number 1 is that you have a pay schedule that you set up when you build the scope of work. So you build a scope of work with all the things that they need to do on a project, and you agree to that scope of work and what complete looks like. And the other thing that you need to get in the scope of work is a pay schedule that says, okay, when you finish A, B, and C, we're going to pay you X amount. And when you finish, D, E, and F, we're going to pay you Y amount. And, I get it. We're new to working together. You have concerns just like I have concerns. My number 1 rule is I'm just never going to pay somebody up front. However, I do understand your concerns. Therefore, I will cut these pay schedules into as small of chunks as you want, especially as we're building our relationship together. I hope that over time, we learn each other well enough to where we don't have to do that anymore. So if you need me to run down there at the end of today and give you a check for your labor, I'll do it. I'll do the same thing tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And over time, maybe we make that span get a little bit longer. And as far as material, I get it. Why you wouldn't want to front materials for a guy that you just met. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up a pro account at Home Depot. You're going to go up to Home Depot, get the stuff you want. They call me or they do the text confirm, and I'll look over the receipt. This is a good management tool, by the way, guys, as well. You can see what materials are getting put on your site, and I'll pay for it myself. You can take it to the job site. There you go. And bonus here, I'm putting myself out there too. You can steal my materials. So we have some trust back and forth here. It's such a big thing for me, guys, because so many times I've been burnt. This is still me role playing with the contractor, by the way. I've just been burnt a lot of times. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I have a lot of work though. I'm a good guy to work with. I always pay for this stuff. I have a great reputation for this stuff. Let's do this thing. Okay. And that leads me to the third thing, right? First was clear pay schedule. Second is the Home Depot Pro Desk. You pay for the materials up front. You don't go run the materials, by the way. That's bandwidth eating. You pay for the materials. What's up, Bo Nose? Missed you yesterday and the day before. Didn't see you in here. Okay, Pro Desk. You're not running materials, guys. You're not the runner. You are a payer, though. Finally, this leads to, and you heard it in the role play that I was doing, is authority. The reason that they will not let you not pay up front is because they're like, I smell the novice on you. And you got to get that smell off, and you do it by reps, okay? Be confident in what you're doing, but you do it by reps. That's what we try to do here. I'm trying to get it in your head, guys, that Well, I'll tell you, you're no different than most people that are out there investing, okay? There's no difference as long as you have the right mindset. That's what you're here for, though. Okay, so number 2 was do not pay those contractors up front. Guys, just those 2 rules alone will change your life, okay? Change your business life. But I got 2 more for you. Number 3, everything we do is about minimizing the downside risk, not the home runs. The home run, that's the Pontiac story, okay? I swung for the fences, I struck out, and it burnt like hell. What we do is we make sure that the losses are not bad. And you do that by statistical evidence. Everything is about statistical evidence. Remember the neighborhood. There was no evidence that said something would sell for $800,000 in that neighborhood. No, the evidence said it would sell for $667,000. I got what I deserved. Okay, so just think about this. I always like to use car analogies. I'm not a car guy whatsoever. Been driving the same truck for many, many years, and I couldn't care less about it. But everybody understands car analogies. Okay, so think about this. Buying a Ford F-150, and you get on Kelley Blue Book, and you look at what the thing is worth, with the mileage, with the, these features, X, Y, and Z, and it tells you basically what something is worth. Why? Because there's been hundreds of thousands, I'm sure, F-150s sold, millions maybe. And so it knows exactly what that thing is going to be worth, give or take a few $1,000s. What if it's like bright yellow? What if it's got like a snowplow thing on the front? What if it has like the big jacked up tires things, or whatever other features, something like that was custom done? Some people might think, oh, that's going to make it worth way more. Well, maybe. How much more? Do you know? Is there a Kelley Blue Book that says how much more that thing would be worth? What about the yellow? Like, I don't know many bright yellow F-150s. Does that sell for the same amount as all the other F-150s? Those are outliers. And I don't care if I do think possibly that it would be worth more because of that. There's no statistical evidence that says it's worth more than that. So I'm out. Thank you, but I'm out. And this is exactly the way that I think about houses. So when I go to buy a house, I buy in a neighborhood that I've already defined by the way the government defines neighborhoods. And inside of that neighborhood, I am going to find all the houses that have sold there, and I'm going to look at their statistics. I want to know. I'll just show you exactly what I want to know because I built it for you. I want to know the median sales price of the neighborhood. That's how I picked the neighborhood in the first place. But then I want to know the median square footage, the median year built. I want to know the owner occupancy rate in that neighborhood. But these 2 are the big ones, the median square feet and the median year built. And also behind the scenes here, when I actually pick a neighborhood and build a list, what I'm doing is I'm finding the tax assessed value. So if the tax assessed value in the neighborhood is $100,000, I want to be within certain parameters of that. Okay, so this tells me exactly the heart of the neighborhood. And anything that is outside of the heart of the neighborhood, I do not want them. Okay, this is how you get in trouble. And this is like people who go buy rural houses, out in the country. And it's like, it's great. But there are so many factors that I just couldn't account for. Like acreage, how much does acreage go for? Well, this house was like custom built by some, old guy that built it himself. Awesome. But it looks nothing like anything else that's around there. And in fact, there's not many things around there. Hell, a house hasn't sold here for 25 years. How could I possibly know what that thing is worth? Okay, so the ideal neighborhood for me is the movie Pleasantville. All the houses are the same. There's no difference between one house and another. awesome, because I know exactly what that house is going to sell for. I know exactly what I need to do to that house to make it look like all of the other ones. And that is taking the risk out of the game. Finally, my favorite, and I know that you guys probably know where this is going already, but all of you guys, going back to the cars, everybody here knows that you don't go buy a new car because you buy that car for $50,000. The second you drive it off the lot, it's worth like $38,000 or whatever the math is. That's a stupid investment. All right, you might, whatever, if you're rich as crap and you want to go buy a new car, fine by me. I'm not Dave Ramsey. But as an investment, you certainly would not do that. Okay, so if you're anything like me, what you do is you go on Facebook Marketplace and you start like figuring out, okay, what are houses selling for? And then let me start working some deals here to try. I just bought an RV like this, okay? RVs, the kind that I got, they're selling for like $40,000, $50,000. And I figured out what the market was. And then I just kept working deals, you know, hitting people up till I got one for $27,000. Pumped about that. All right. But anyway, the point here is that you know that the car thing is a bad investment. And it blows my mind that people do this exact thing when they go to buy houses. They basically buy it at market, and then they think that through renovation, through the forced appreciation, that's how they're going to make their money. Guys, that is being a construction company. It is nothing more than being a construction company. So how do I depict this for you? Here you go. Oh, dang it. I'm getting it, guys. Here's your house. This is, the real estate market over time. We're saying it's going up. As it is. It's got its ups and downs. Okay, so when you buy a flip house, basically what you do is you're buying it down here, probably because it needs some work. It's not as valuable as the rest. Okay. And then you're going to do some work to it. And as you're doing the work, it's going to become more valuable. And then eventually you're going to get it over that line of livability, the place where a bank will actually give somebody money to buy it. Okay. And once it gets to that point, it shoots up in value, right? And now it's basically the same as the rest of the market. And what you have to do is you have to, oh my gosh, we're getting wild, guys. During this project, you're going to be putting renovation work into it. And that is what increases the value here. Now, the renovation work that you do, you should get paid off of this, right? So here's renovation work. Let's say that renovation work costs $50,000. Well, then the price should have raised by 80. Okay, this $30,000 right here is how I made my profits. But that part right there is simply getting paid as a construction company. Okay, the place where you want to be is not buying right here, because this is what everybody else would buy it for. Right here is what everybody else would buy it for. I want to, on day one, be able to put that house on the market and it sells for more than I bought it for. So right here, I'm buying down here. And now I have equity in the deal from day one. This is my equity. And as I'm doing this project, okay, it's getting to be worth more money. I'm obviously putting money into it here. Okay, and at some point right here before I go into the past the line of livability, I'm getting very close to value. You know, the amount of money that I've put in for construction is pretty much equivalent to the value that I could sell it for. That's the riskiest point for me. Okay. When I have no equity in the deal, I'm at my highest risk. But a lot of people are out of the money from the second they buy the house all the way through to the very end because they're only getting the construction company money out of it. And that is a dangerous way to play the game. So the safest thing you can do is, of course, get a deal on the front end and always be thinking about being in the money. And now, one more thing that I want to say about that is that this is what happens to a lot of people. Range of comps over here, line of livability right here. So they're buying these guts, right? You got to take off all the drywall, do all this work to it. Okay, risk to me is the distance I am away from this scale of livability, or excuse me, this livability threshold. Because after I get a house past this, even a little bit past this, I can start to monetize it. I can either sell it without taking a haircut or I can rent it out. And so for me, I'm always thinking about it's a mad dash to get it across that line so I can be in the clear. Because remember, that's where the jump up in value happens. Because before it's livable, all the little sharks out there, myself included, are like, oh, well, if it's not livable, I better get a great deal. And that's what happens. It makes it way less valuable. So you got to get across that line. And here's what happens to a lot of people is that they buy it right here. Okay. And they think that I'm going to be able to just jump it across that line and then, push it up. But the thing is, they find things in it that end up making them tear the drywall off, which opens up the whole can of worms. And now they've moved it back to here. However, they bought it at this price. They bought it right here at this price. And now they've had to pay to take it down the scale of livability. They paid this money. Let's say that's $20K. And not only that, but the house is worth way less money now. So they are out of the money all the way until they reach the end of the project. And that's a terrible situation to be in. So get a deal on the front end so you're ahead of the money, and always be thinking about that. I'm pushing it towards the range of comps at all times. I'm trying to get across that line at all times. Never pay the contractors up front. Never buy an outlier. And guys, don't over renovate a house. It's not about your portfolio. It's about your bank account. Not in a bad way. We're all in business here. Who's got questions? Anybody? Anybody out there? Bo knows. You got any questions? I have some time. Did I miss any? All right, guys. Any questions? Going once? Going twice? All right. Everybody, have a good day. Oh, not really today. All right. Guys, have a good one. Take it easy.